Good morning, YouTubers. This is number 13, Grumpy Old Ken, number 13. What I was going to do today was to talk about 1950 in relationship to a 10, 11-year-old. But I realised that the time itself is not, a lot of people may not be familiar with it. So I'll try and cover one or two bits as it comes to my mind to try and set the scene. As a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, it didn't make any difference whether it was 1950, 1960, 1920, 2015. But relevant to the times, quite a few things. Rationing was still on. Some people were a little bit irked, if you like, that in Germany rationing had finished. A lot of it went in this country, but there were still certain things rationed, and one or two people certainly weren't too happy about this German situation. It was a bad year for a couple of accidents. Cresswell Colliery, not far from where I am now, Midlands, had a very bad accident. I think, if I remember, I can't remember how many died, to be honest, but enough. One is enough. And they also had a submarine stuck in the bottom of the Thames called, I'll have to look this up to make it absolutely right, Truculent, and there were 60 odd killed there, so not a very happy year and that sort of thing. Year of the making of the motor industry coming back to sort of reasonable numbers. Ford Zephyr, anybody ever had one? And the Consul in this country, 476,000 were made. When you consider that Japan made 2,000 cars in this year, quite a difference. Self-service arrived, Sainsbury's. People were still hanged for murder. Some were reprieved, but not all. Eagle Comets arrived, filter cigarettes arrived. Indicative of the time in one respect. The London bus people, the men voted not to have women conductors. 1950. Makes you wonder a little bit, doesn't it? Food fairly basic. Secondary mod schools outnumbered grammar schools 3 to 1. With every good intention, some of these secondary mod schools weren't very good. The vast majority of people in this country in 1950 were manual workers, over 70%, very much a working class situation, and certainly mine was. Average house price, by the way, in 1950 was, let's look it up, £1,940. You could buy a tangerine in Derby Market for a penny. You could buy, what else could you buy? A coconut for 1 3/8, both old money. If I can try and give a little bit of a grasp of the time, 2 men were fined in Derby. One was £1 and one was 17 6 for riding, what was the exact wording? For riding a bike furiously. The poor policeman had to run a mile to catch up with them. And they were zigzagging all over the road. I mean that was actually said in court. I suppose we still use the word zigzag. People dropped orange peel in the town centre, and that caused great noise, if you like, from some people. So you take it home and burn it. Would it make the news now? I wonder if you were dropping stuff. I mean, the amount of rubbish they leave now in Derby. It takes lorries to pick it up, not an orange peel. Politically correct, the word hadn't arrived in 1950. There was a letter in the paper talking about the National Association of Parents of Backward Children. We don't use the word now, it's a bit offensive. Backward children. And there was also a meeting of the International Friendship League of, I don't know what you call it. And they were talking about the problems of the ugly child. Ugly child. Dear. Fortunately, we're a little bit more sensitive nowadays. I mean, they would talk, for instance, in the paper talked about a man suspected of burglary, and he was a coloured man, and another one was a Negro seaman. Right or wrong, we don't tend to be that open. We colour things a little bit, if that's the real word. I don't know. I've got mixed feelings. A farmer gave a lad a good shaking. I think he was scrumping, taking his apples. He gave him a good shaking, and the court said, well, that's fair enough. Oh, is it? Hospital patient burnt to death in the hospital, and the coroner gave his verdict, and he said, I hope they don't take the smokes off the patient. He said, I wouldn't be happy if they took my smokes off me in hospital. So you lay in hospital and you smoked. Times have changed, haven't they? I don't know. I thought it might give a little grasp of how much things have changed. In the next one, I want to write what we actually did as youngsters to pass our time away. But you've got to remember how long ago it was. And I thought this might, just might, give an idea of how things have changed. Have a nice day. Sun outside shining a little bit more. Cold. Never mind. Been a nice week. Cheers.